I'll start. Clockwork Percussionist, red for 1/1. It's an artifact creature, monkey toy. It's a haste. When Clockwork Percussionist dies, exile the top card of your library. You may play it until end of your next turn. I think this is solid.
Yeah.
Role player. Fills a lot of different roles. Being a small creature for Boros. Being an artifact for Delirium. Being something that's good to sacrifice. I think this is, all in all, perfectly fine playable card to see.
I think this is... Yeah? This is pretty great for aggression as well. It feels really good for aggression, right? You just get chip in, and once they decide to block it, you don't give a fuck. It's fine. I think it's C+. I think this is very desirable in most red decks. Feels good anyway. Monkey toy.
Yeah, this is great. Also works extremely well with the next card.
Yeah, works extremely well with turn inside out. So for 1 red, you get instant speed. Target creature gets +3/+0 until end of the turn. When it dies this turn, manifest dread. Works extremely well with that card, right? Trades up with basically anything. And you are gonna still get a 2/2. You're very good on Delirium. You have instant, artifact, and a creature. You need one more for Delirium. This feels fine. Like in aggressive deck. In non-aggressive deck, who cares? But in aggressive deck, yeah, it feels really good. Didn't see that many good tricks. I'm gonna C for this trick. I think it's gonna work very well.
Okay, I'll go even a little bit higher. I'm gonna C+ for this one. I think this is an extremely premium trick. But yeah, only for beatdowns. But very, very good at it.
Okay. Okay.
Grab the prize. 1 in a red. For a... Why is mine out of order? Anyway, grab the prize. 1 in a red for a sorcery. As an additional cost to cast a spell, discard a card. Draw 2 cards. If the discarded card wasn't a land, grab the prize deals 2 damage to each opponent. This one is interesting. I guess the idea here is that if you're at all proactive, you can go ahead and, for example, in the late game, filter out your lands, but also you can specifically pick cards to enable your Delirium, because this is sorcery plus one other thing. I think for picking card types and being selective about which card types you bin is actually a pretty powerful effect for something like this. Normally, this effect ranges from okay to bad, but I think this is definitely more on the okay side in this set. And the additional reach is not nothing to sneeze at either, because I do think that this is more of an aggressive card.
Yeah.
Despite that this doesn't affect the board. I'm always okay with like 1 or 2 of these to help filter out some of my variance draws. And I think this one fits in just fine. This is a C- for me.
The art is creepy, yeah. And unfortunately the keyhole turned out to be located in an even larger, scarier clown mode. You gave it a C+?
C-.
Oh, C-. Okay, heard wrong. Yeah, I mean, I don't think this is a very good effect like the sorcery speed. I think in aggressive decks, yeah, but I do agree with Scotty. In aggressive decks, I think you're very happy running a lot of these. A lot. And sure, you discard lands in late game, but early game, mid game, maybe even late game, like I just want to kill them. So I want to C- as well. Not good. Unless you're pretty aggressive and then you play a couple and you're fine in late game and you're fine with reach. Very good with red uncommon that we're gonna see at one point. Hand that feeds for 1 and a red, it's a 2/2. But it has Delirium, +2/+0 menace. Wait. What do you mean? Oh, when it attacks. Okay. If you have Delirium, when this thing attacks, it gets +2/+0 in menace. That's a 4/2 menace. 2-drop. Okay. Delirium 4/2 menace for 2 is... That is crazy powerful. Like, that's always gonna trade, deal too much damage, it's a common. We are getting into why you want Delirium. Like, this is the thing. This is the thing, I think. And these first 3 cards work pretty well in getting a Delirium. So, there's a cup behind me. Oh. Pretty big cup. I think this is nice. Scotty, do we have to give this ceiling?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I think this is just a good 2-drop.
But if you're really good at Delirium, I'm gonna give this a C+. I'm gonna give this a C+. I think it's great.
Yeah, I'm on a C+ as well. I think this is a very good 2-drop.
Yeah.
Ragged Playmate, 1 in a red. For a 2/2 artifact creature toy, 1 in tapped. Target creature with power 2 or less can't be blocked this turn. I do like the effect. It's unfortunate that you have to like sort of tap 2 creatures, but it's an early thing that tangles, and I think artifact creatures in specific I kind of don't mind trading off. Specifically just to fill an artifact in the graveyard with ease. So I'm okay just tangling with this early, and then being able to send things in through late in the game. Specifically in Boros, I think this is pretty good at sending in, for example, the Signpost Uncommon Annabella, and other creatures like that. Totally fine with that. Like you do have to answer something like this, and for a bear to gain a must-answer status in the late game is always something to look at. So I'm gonna give this one a C-.
Artifact creature for 2 types, cool. Not very excited about this one. It's pretty cool with a hand. Huh? Huh? Like 4 to unblockable?
Pretty good with the hand. If it needs more help, yeah.
Okay, so far, deal 2 damage, gain 2 life against red. Okay, let's, I want to give this a C- as well. I think it's fine. Scorching Dragonfire for 1 and a red. Instant speed, 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker. And you exile it. So, that's nice. Yeah.
Pretty dang nice.
Pretty damn nice. Probably not a B-. I think it's just a C+. I think
Okay,
it is
I'll
a
go B-.
B-?
Yeah, I'll be on B-. I'm actually totally fine. I think the exile clause is pretty dang good here as well. Like pretty relevant. So.
Yeah, I like Delirium, Graveyard. I don't know, but more like Delirium, right?
I mean, it's having your opponent not have an additional or having a creature in the graveyard and delaying Delirium for like a turn can be pretty relevant. I mean, especially if you exile an artifact creature that they're trying to curve out with.
Yeah, it's real nice stopping Delirium. I don't think there's that much Delirium. I think Delirium is like basically red green. I think it's red green. I think that's where you care about it. Okay, C+ still for me. 3 damage for 2 is nice.
Rampaging Soul Rager, 2 red, 3 mana total for a 1/4 spirit. Rampaging Soul Rager gets +3/+0 as long as there are 2 or more unlocked doors among rooms you control. So having 2 unlocked doors specifically means if you have a single room that's fully unlocked, this is a 4/4 for 3 mana. The problem is by turn 3, this will always be a 1/4. I believe that there are actual 0 rooms that can unlock in the first 2 turns of the game. I think it's actual 0. That's not true. That's not true. You can curve out with like a 1 mana room, and you can play another room for 2 mana, and that would mean that this is a 4/4. So it is possible. It is possible, but you can't do it with a single room. There's no single room that does this. So you do need 2 rooms in order to make this a 4/4 on turn 3. Really care too much? I don't like really care too much about this. I don't anticipate that this will be a centerpiece of the rooms deck. I think it'll be fine. And I also think it'll be fine to bad in other decks that don't have like a huge surplus of rooms, but just have some rooms in them. Like the delta between having the rooms unlocked and having this not is pretty big. I think this is a D+.
Yeah, D+ as well. It's playable, but I think it might just be a D. Not sure how much you want it. 4/4 for 3 is really good, but this is not it. Ticket Booth. We have a room for 2 and a red. When you unlock this room, door, manifest dread. Tunnel of Hate for 4 and double red. Whenever you attack, target attacking creature gains double strike until end of turn. Okay, so Eerie in red, not really a thing. Like there is one uncommon, not really a thing, so okay. 3 mana to Manifest Red is kind of shit. 6 mana is so much to pay. So much to pay. Rakdos does second enchantments. Blue red sacrifices rooms sometimes. Blue unlocks rooms as well easier. It's not horrible, but this is like not the best way to get Delirium, and I think you want Delirium in your red decks a lot of times. I don't think this is a good one. I'm gonna be on a D+. Like 6 mana double strike is a nice late game tool, but you're playing a 3 mana 2/2. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm into a D+. I'm pretty off.
Yeah. One of the worst rooms.
I'm pretty off what both of these cards give. I'm not super into it.
Yeah.
Vicious Clown. Vicious Clown is 2 and a red for 3 mana 2/3. Whenever another creature you control with power 2 or less enters, Vicious Clown gets +2/+0 until end of turn. So this is interesting. There's a lot of 2 power creatures amongst the Boros decks. This unfortunately has a tough time blocking as anything other than a 2/3. But it can certainly get in for like a huge swing on certain curve outs. And even then, if I'm curving out, I don't think a 3-drop is something you want to be going for that aggressively, right? So if you have a curve out Boros deck, I'm not necessarily just in for taking a 3-drop early. So I'm also going to give this a D+.
Same D+. It can be an 8/3, right, with Gremlins. That's pretty cool. Actually, I'm just gonna give this a D. Like, I don't think it's a very desirable 3-drop. Gotta play things earlier as well. Manifest Dread triggers. Yeah, red doesn't really have a Manifest Dread much. Most valuable Slayer. Just a D for the last one. 3 and a red. Okay, 4-drop. You get a 2/4. Whenever you attack, target attacking creature gets +1/+0 and gains first strike until end of turn. Alright. Okay. You gotta be aggressive. This is something. This is something to do. Yeah. This with Clown is kinda nice. Alright, I'm into this one. I'm into multiples of this one. And just attack. This is irritating card. This is an irritating card. If you get the Delirium, then you can get like attack with your 5/2 menace hands. I'm on a C. I think this is a very desirable 4-drop.
Yeah, as far as 4-drops go, this is a beating.
Yeah.
Lots of synergies, makes combat kind of a nightmare, picking and choosing. Being able to stack them in multiples. This one gets good in multiples too. Great way to enable survivors as well. Nice picking and choosing. I'm gonna give this one a C+. I actually really like this one, which is really high for a 4-drop.
I'm thinking about C+ as well, but I'm gonna start as a C because 4-drop.
Okay.
What is this?
Where is this card?
Rip Chain Razorkin?
Can you read this one?
Rip Chain Razorkin for 3 and a red. It's a 5/3 reach. For 2 and a red, you sacrifice land and draw a card. What is this? That's a little bit different. Like, sure, it works with this first strike, but you don't want... This is one thing that basically never works in Magic. 4-drops that are good with other 4-drops, even though they're common. Like that basically never works well in Magic. It is too clunky to play those two together and then still have to attack. So I don't think that's gonna be a thing. Man, this is actually this like most valuable Slayer. Give it a C+ from me as well. Like this is gonna be nightmare to block against. Like, this thing is gonna be breaking so many games and stalls. Reach is fine. 3 mana to sack land draw card is whatever. This kind of shit. I'm on a D. I hate 3 toughness. D.
Yeah, 3 toughness is whack. How much would you like if it was slipped?
Better? Like a D+, C-. It's not aggressive, so that kind of sucks in red, I think. If it was a 3/5.
Yeah, I think this card stinks.
Yeah.
D as well. This is Boiler Bilge's Ripper. Boiler Bilge's Ripper is 4 and a red for a 4/4 human assassin. When Boiler Bilge's Ripper enters, you may sacrifice another creature or enchantment. When you do, it deals 2 damage to any target. So this is low stats for a 5-drop. We talked about this card a little bit before when discussing like the sacrifice options of Rakdos. This card is not incredible. Being able to pick off something for 2 toughness is an okay effect, but I don't think it's worth the hit in stats that we're getting here. 4/4 for 5 mana is small. It is small, especially no keywords, no nothing. It's a small creature.
Yeah.
I think this one's a D+ for me.
It's kind of cool with the 1/1. You got to play a card, but it is very small. How about a D? It feels too small. Kind of cool that you can sack like rooms and stuff. But 4/4 is so small. Yeah, 2 damage is not that much. Red does have some reach, so that's cool. You gotta be careful about red like having reach. What if this was just a 5 mana 4/4 deal 2 damage? I mean, I don't think it would be amazingly crazy.
You're quite good though.
You're good.
It'd be quite good.
Yeah. Impossible Inferno. For 4 and a red, it deals 6 damage to target creature, but if you have Delirium, you exile the top card of your library and you may play it until the end of your next turn. Okay, we usually get shit 5 mana removal spells in red. Like just like hopefully kill something. Doesn't kill everything, that's it. This thing a lot of times I think is gonna be you kill something and draw a card. Which I like. I like this I like this clunky removal organic chicken. I do like this. The art looks unfinished, kinda, yeah. I think this is good. Usually I'm on a like D or something for these cards, but now I'm on like a C minus or a C. I'm okay with a C minus.
Yeah, C minus. It's hard to pick up too many of these, but I can totally see decks running like 2 or 3 of these even. You know, if they're really skewed towards the late game.
Yeah.
So it's funny because normally like the red proactive decks aren't necessarily going to want this. Maybe like 1 to finish off a large blocker. But this might even be like a splash in like some Jun Shell, right? Something like that. Because this is a pretty dang good mostly catch-all value removal. So C minus for me.
Okay.
This is a Bedhead Bestie, or Bedhead Beastie. 4 red, 6 mana for a 5/6 menace with Mountain Cycling 2. Yeah, I don't care about this, especially not in red.
Yeah.
5/6 menace, okay. Mountain Cycling 2, nothing too special. Everything about this is kind of mediocre for me. D+.
D+. I'm on a D. I don't care about these cyclers at all. Too much mana. Glassworks and Shattered Yard. Glassworks is a 2 and a red room. When you unlock this door, this room deals 4 damage to target creature an opponent controls. And for 5 mana, at the beginning of your end step, this room deals 1 damage to each opponent. I like this. It's an enchantment to sacrifice that already killed most things. At sorcery speed, kind of not that great, but you do care about sacrifice instead of instant speed. And this 5 mana is fine, I think. I do like this 5 mana. Why do I like it? Well, because it already did its thing, right? And then at one point you can say, oh, I need a couple of damage over a couple of turns, and that's gonna win me the game with some red reach as well. So I think most of the time you care only about the Glassworks, but this 5 is fine because you're not getting a horrible 3-drop or like a bad 3-drop, and then I can do something meh, right in the late game. It is the Shattered Yard as a card would be complete garbage, but tacked onto this, I do like it, and I think this is a C+. Even a B- maybe.
I'm on a B-. I
Good.
mean, I think this is what we got, right? Like, the both red removal spells are pretty solid. This one has a lot of additional synergies tacked onto it, so I'm into it. B-.
B-, yeah. Let's go. All right, red so far, pretty good at being aggressive. Pretty good at being aggressive.
So much better than black.
Yeah, much better than black. Norin, Swift Survivalist. We're onto the uncommons. For a red, you got a 2/1, and it cannot block. But whenever a creature you control becomes blocked, you may exile it. You may play that card from exile this turn. What's this? Doesn't have survival. No, you can't block is horrible. I guess the thing about this is like you're a super aggressive deck and you have a bigger board than the opponent without tokens. And then you attack with your things and they are not actually killing, they're not value trading against your things. But you can only play them this turn. Kinda cool with ETB effects. Pretty meh. I think this is not good. I'm on a D.
Yeah, I'm on a D2. The fact that it can't block is very poor.
Very poor.
It's pretty good in like specific situations though.
Very specific, yeah.
Very specific, yeah. Next card is Trial of Agony, red, for a sorcery. Choose 2 target creatures controlled by the same opponent. That player chooses one of those creatures. Trial of Agony deals 5 damage to that creature, and the other can't block this turn. Really interesting card. So let's, besides what says, let's actually break down how it's going to play out. You destroy, you probably kill your opponent's second best creature, right? And you guarantee to take 2 creatures out of blocking range, right? So like you're attacking, right? You're aggressive. Clearly you're aggressive, and you remove 2 blockers. One of them you remove for good. Unfortunately, so play pattern wise, you cannot target anything with 6 toughness, right? So like I think it can be, you can get into your head like, oh, I'm going to pick my opponent 6/6 and they're 5/5 and they're going to deal 5 damage to the 5/5 and the 6/6 is going to live. That's not how it's going to work, right? Because they get to choose. They get to choose. So they're just going to choose the 6/6 to take 5 damage.
Yeah.
But I can easily see tricking myself into just getting 2 tunnel visions into that sort of effect. But you have to choose 2 creatures with power or with toughness 5 or less, but it does remove 2 blockers, which I think is a very powerful effect. But specific, so I think this probably gets a ceiling grade of like a C+, and I'd probably take it at like a C-.
Oh, I think this is great. Like, even if you do this on 2 2-drops, or a 2-drop and a 3-drop, right? Everybody's gonna have a 2-drop or a 3-drop, 2-drop and a 4-drop, something. You just pay 1 mana to kill a 2-drop. That's fine. And then the other thing cannot block. So it's 1 mana. There is almost no fail case with this deck, unless everything is a 1/1 or something. I think this is great. I think this is a B-. And yeah, I think this is gonna be nightmarish to block against, especially when opponent might have those 4/2 menace hands. Those are gonna be crazy. And the first strikers as well. Man, red is a little bit, I don't think like it's, oh, everything is broken, but it's very good at attacking. I'm on a B- with this one. This ceiling for this one, I would put it like as a B or a B+.
No, it doesn't need a ceiling. You're right. It's a reasonable defensive tool as well.
Yeah.
You know, like imagine your opponent has a 4/4 drop and then a 3 drop. You're like, how isn't this just better than Scorching Dragonfire? Like a 3/3 and a 4/4. This just kills the 3/3 for 1 mana, right? That's just a good card.
Yeah.
It's just a good card.
And if you're attacking, like it's so much better than that, right? Yeah. Violent Urge for a red, instant speed. Target creature gets +1/+0 and gains first strike until end of turn. But if you have Delirium, it gains double strike. Okay, big difference. If you give it to +1/+0 first strike, that's kind of shit. If you give it to +1/+0 double strike, to your, again, that hand is gonna be pretty damn important. That could be like 10 damage, yeah. I can see going a little bit wider against red is gonna be important to survive. I don't think it's good though. I'm gonna give it a D+. But you really want Delirium, and you kind of want to kill them.
I'm definitely higher on this. So I think for the decks that are Delirium and aggressive, it's not actually that difficult to get to Delirium by the stage you want to be casting this as a finisher. And even if it's 1 mana to win a combat, I'm fine with that. I think I'm gonna take this as C-. I personally would like to put a ceiling grade on it, because I think 1 mana for this effect in double strike is actually very, very powerful.
How high are you
an actual finisher? It's like a C+.
Sure.
I'm taking it as C-.
C+ ceiling seems fine.
Yeah. Betrayer's Bargain, 1 and a red for an instant. As an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice a creature or enchantment or pay 2. Betrayer's Bargain deals 5 damage to target creature. If that creature would die this turn, exile it instead. This is nice. This is nice. So for even without any fodder, you get to pay 4 mana to remove something. That's an okay card at instant speed. That's an okay card. But you get the flexibility of being able to sacrifice something to make this quite efficient. Like you have a room that's already used it to up its effect. Then all of a sudden you now have an extremely efficient, very strong removal spell. I'm into it. I like this a decent amount. I'm going to give this a B-.
Feels like maybe in red, like you're gonna be happy sacrificing a room. Really happy. Like those, they have like these 5, 6 activate effects. 6 is bad. I think it's just bad. And because you can get like artifacts in the graveyard, that's not a big trouble. Creatures, instant sorceries, lands are not that easy. Terramorphic Expanse is gonna be nice. Very nice for Delirium. And then like enchantment might just be the missing piece. If you get enchantment in the graveyard, you're always fine. Which red doesn't have a lot of enchantments. Like creature enchantments. B-, I think I want a C+. It's good. Like triggers Delirium much easier, so that's kind of cool. 2 mana 5, like for sacrificing a room, is real nice. But it depends on how good your rooms are. Yeah, that seems fine. Irreverent Gremlin for 1 and a red. It's a menace gremlin that has a stat line of 2/2. Whenever another creature you control with power 2 or less enters, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Do this only once each turn. That's a 2/2 with menace, which is fine. And then you can rummage for everything once per turn, I guess. For every... Make your Delirium super much easier. That's a solid 2-drop. I want a C+. I like this a lot.
Yeah, 2/2 menace already is pretty decent for a 2-drop, and then you just get a little bit of extra filtering. Maybe not even just an extra bit. I kind of really like this. I'm at B-. I'm B- for the Gremlin. I think this is a very strong 2-drop.
It's very good for Delirium. And you're not losing a card, you're drawing another.
Yeah, it's very good for Boros as well. So just make sure you don't flood out. I like it. Piggy Bank, 1 and a red for an artifact creature, Boar Toy. It's a 3/2. When Piggy Bank dies, create a treasure token. This is fine. You know, the stats on this totally fine as well. Getting a treasure token means that their opponent is not incentivized to trade off with this early, but it hits reasonably hard. It's kind of interesting. There's like a small bit of tension because I do think you want this in your graveyard, so you kind of want your opponent to block, but your opponent's not going to block this. Not for the first not for the first 2 turns at least.
Maybe they are. Like you don't want to just get hit for 3.
Yeah, maybe they are, but it's really good for you then. Then you just get to accelerate. Yeah. Nice stuff. I think this card is quite good. This is C+ for me.
Oh, B- for me. B-. I love this. Get a couple of these. You're doing so well for yourself. Pyroclasm for 1 and a red. It deals 2 damage to each creature. No. Sorcery. No. D- in red. D-. I don't think this is a card that red wants.
What about, is it rooms?
No, still. I mean, red just has everything so aggressive, and sure, sometimes these rooms are gonna be fine, but I still don't think this is something you want. And blue you have enough interaction for their small things, right? You got enough interaction for their small things. You don't need to kill your small things. You're multicolored uncommon. You're basically most of red cards that are good. I think it hurts red more than it gains you in basically any red deck.
I'm putting a sideboard X on it.
What are you?
I'm putting a sideboard X on it.
I don't think we need that. Like I think like a red. I think this would be a sideboard card against red, not red against other decks.
I mean, yeah, like I think this is very powerful.
This has never been very
this
powerful.
This is a very, very strong effect.
It's never been very powerful, this card. 2 damage to each creature, that's it. This doesn't matter if it's 2 or 3 or 4 mana, like, kind of doesn't matter.
What's your grade on Wildfire Howl? I know that's a very different card.
It was good in EZ. Shit in any other deck. Good in EZ because of prowess ++1/+1 counters.
Yeah, I picked that card as a B minus.
In Izzet.
First pick.
And then you're Izzet.
I mean, that's a matter of meta, though, and the tier list reflects the meta, which is interesting. I'm gonna take this as a C minus.
Okay.
I'm a believer. I can leave off sideboard X.
Don't put a sideboard, please. Like, I don't think it's a good sideboard card. I mean, you can, I guess, but I mean, I think it's a really bad sideboard card. Unless you're splashing it in some other
I don't
decks.
understand what your thing for a sideboard card is. You bring it in when it's good, and you don't bring it in when it's bad.
I don't think it is gonna be good. Like, I don't know, enchantment hate is like, oh, they have a lot of enchantments, let's get it in, that's gonna be nice. This thing is like, I don't think it's gonna be good to bring it in, basically, ever.
Okay, there's gonna be some matchups that it's gonna be back-breaking, so I believe this is going to be brought in.
I think you gotta remove,
and
like...
you'll be very happy that you have this.
I think then you gotta remove like 7 of your creatures. That's like such a weird thing. Like, you remove 7 of your creatures, you play 2 of these. And that's...
So you open. You have an opening hand, right? You can just skip your 2-drop and then you sweep. This is really cheap enough to not... You don't have to like set up for a 5-drop. You just cast it out on curve. Or like a little bit off curve, on turn 4 even.
What, and you just did nothing and you killed one of their 2-drops maybe?
Yeah, like 2 creatures. 2 for 1. Easy.
Easy,
then
yeah,
all of a sudden, you're set for the game.
You don't know that. Like, the archetype that cares about 2 or less toughness, it has like the red 1/1, for example, that you kill, they don't care. It has the 2/4s or 1/3s. Like, it doesn't really have 2/2s that much. Only red cards, which you are playing obviously here. Like, I don't see it. It's like...
Yeah, this is a wild take, but I'm off it.
You're kind of praying that it's such a once in a lifetime scenario where, yeah, you're playing that red. I mean, sometimes I guess you're gonna play red, but you're not gonna be aggressive at all. You're gonna be playing other color, and red is gonna be like a support color with some doors or something. I can see that, I guess, but I don't think that's normal for red to do. And then you play it, and then you put it from the board. I don't know. Is that okay, boss?
I mean, yeah, I'm just like, I mean, it's fine. We sometimes we have to fight sometimes. There's no fight club otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, discuss, I guess.
I mean, this is we're very different in opinions.
Okay, we're gonna see. Okay, write that down somewhere, because I don't think it is gonna be good, but we're gonna see. It's gonna be cool if it is. If it is, that means that like there are some red decks that are completely different than what I'm envisioning. Untimely malfunction. For 1 and a red, choose 1. Destroy target artifact. Change the target of target spell or ability with a single target. 1 or 2 target creatures can't block this turn. I mean, there are some artifacts, so that's cool. You attack, they cannot block, that's kind of nice. There is enough removal. It is spell or abilities, so it can be a room as well. I think this has enough things that is main deckable as a D+. Can 2 for 1 removal, yeah. Room targets.
I'm a D.
Yeah, D?
Yeah, D.
Okay.
I'm less excited.
You gotta remember, guys, some of the things are target opponent controls, so you're still gonna have to like lose your creature or something.
Fear of being hunted. 1 red for a 4/2 enchantment creature nightmare has haste. Fear of being hunted must be blocked if able. This is hard to cast. I'm not into this. It trades with anything. The dream of eating something, a glimmer token, exists, but is quite small. So this is 3 mana, extremely conditional, hard to cast. Obviously fine on an empty board, but then your opponent gets to just like play out a 2-drop. This is a D+ for me.
Yeah, I kind of don't care. D. I think D. Like, ooh, gonna have to be blocked, but they can just block it. It's easy. Maybe D+ for trades with like a 4/4 if they have nothing else, so that's kind of cool. But I mean, you just kill the 4-drop for 3 mana. That's fine. D, just a D. I don't care about it. Red also doesn't care about Eerie at all. Vengeful Possession, 2 and a red. Sorcery. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap it, it gains haste until end of your turn. You may discard a card if you do draw a card. Like, fuck yeah, man. So, yeah. Threaten effect, okay, steal something, it attacks. Lose a blocker, gain better attack, and you get to Ramage. To get maybe Delirium, maybe Delirium. Or just Ramage, and I mean, there is enough sacrifice. In red-black, yeah. There is enough sacrifice. Definitely enough sacrifice, I think. So I'm gonna be on... We gotta be sealing for this one, right, Scotty?
Yes.
Yeah. Sealing B minus.
Sure. Yep.
And I take it as a C minus, I think.
Me too. Diversion Specialist. Diversion Specialist is a 3 and a red for 4 mana, 4/3 with Menace. You pay 1 and sacrifice another creature or enchantment. Exile the top card of your library. You may play it this turn. This is pretty good. It's unfortunate that you have to play it literally that turn, and you're also eating your mana to do so. But you know, if you got spare rooms lying around, just convert them to cash. The body on its own is like not great, but still hits. You know, still hits reasonably hard.
I mean, 14 mana is okay.
Yeah, it's okay. I like this. I like this as a 4-drop.
Yeah.
Obviously best in Rakdos, but I think this is like a C+ card overall.
I think it's a C+ card as well. Enough good stuff it is. Infernal Phantom, 3 and a red. The first and the last Eerie card in red. It is a 2/3, but when you trigger Eerie, it gets +2/+0. Also, when it dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. So yeah, I mean, this, yeah, okay. So this in white or some colors that have easy time triggering Eerie can grow to like 6 in a turn, sometimes even 9. With white room, it can be 9/4. And if they don't block it, like there are some cards that sacrifice it, so you can sack it to kill them. It is pretty good. This one works. This one definitely works. The worst case scenario, it's a 2/3 that is gonna deal 2 damage when it dies to anything. So that's fine. I think this is a B minus.
Yeah, I think this is a good card. I'm into this. The only thing is
B.
If it's hard to get in red. But I don't think it will be, so B minus for me.
B. Well. I'm on a B.
Oh, B. You're on B. B. I'm on B minus.
This like this is really powerful. This works well, and it's nice when it dies. It's nice when it lives. Yeah, I think this is really nice. This is good even without Eerie. I wouldn't say so.
This is Painter's Studio, 2 in a red, and Deface Gallery, 1 in a red. Painter's Studio is when you unlock this door, exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play them until the end of your next turn. Deface Gallery is whenever you attack, attacking creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. This isn't bad. The thing I like about this is that, like, if you actually need to skip your 2-drop, which is obviously bad for the effect, but you could just develop this out. Or except, for example, on turn 4, you double spell a like Scorching Dragonfire or something into Deface Gallery, and then later on when you gas out, you can just go ahead and paint your studio after that. You know, it's nice that you have something to do first before, and then when you run out of gas, you can paint your studio. I think this is a good card. I think this is a good card. I'm pretty happy about this one.
Yeah.
I think this is a C+ for me.
I'm gonna B minus. I think I like this a lot. This is one of the better uncommons, I think, in red. +1/+1 and everything, nice. You're getting 2 cards. Yeah, everything works well with this. It's an enchantment, I guess. You care about +1/+0, I think. This is so nice, like everything that's buffing your creatures in red still makes them be 2 power. Which matters a little bit sometimes. Before the attacks, right? It makes them be 2 power before the attacks. Razorkin Horde Caller. It's a 5 mana 4/4 with haste. But It's a human clown berserker. Whenever you attack, create a 1/1 red gremlin creature token. Now, this is the shit, man. This is really good. This is very good. I mean, it has haste, so it can attack. It's nice that that thing is not attacking, because you can just like attack and keep getting those tokens. I like that the creature is not attacking. So it's not gonna randomly die to anything that has more than 1 toughness. You don't even have to attack with this thing. This is so good. I'm gonna B for this one.
B as well.
Very powerful.
Even nice with sacrifice fodder.
Yeah. Wow. How is that thing a human? Yeah, don't ask me. Don't ask me. It has a fucking wheel for legs. Oh. And look at the hand.
I think it's riding it. I think it's on a vehicle.
Oh, it's on a vehicle?
I think it's a human on top of a unicycle motorized unicycle.
But where are its legs, Scotty?
I don't know, like sitting, cross-legged, tea drinking position.
Maybe it doesn't have legs like us, but it's still human.
It's true, it could have.
Like for everybody, most people know, like we could be legless. How would anybody know?
Because we're not Orlando Bloom.
Explain.
Fear of burning alive. 4.
Oh my god.
Red. 4 red. 6 mana total for 4/4. When the Fear of Burning Alive enters, it deals 4 damage to each opponent. Delirium. Whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, Fear of Burning Alive deals that amount of damage to target creature that player controls. Okay, so this always deals 4 to face. And it deals 4 to face and 4 to creature if you have Delirium. Which is very nice. The body itself stinks. If I play this as a 4-drop that deals 4 to face, that's mediocre.
4-drop.
But I don't think... Sorry, 6-drop that deals... there's a lot of 4s on this card.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's 6-drop 4/4 that deals 4 damage to face. Nothing special. Pretty bad. But it's all about the Delirium, whether or not you can hit it. And I think at this stage in the game, when you're casting a 6-drop, I think by the time, unless you have a non-functional deck, you can hit this. And it's very good. It's extremely good when you hit this. It's like super painful. I like this a lot. B-.
Yeah, I think you can hit this. I think this is much better than that. There are some other things that hit face damage, that gives face damage, like this card that deals 2 to face. There are a couple of cards that deal face damage as well. I'm very happy with this. I think it's not a B-. I think it's actually a B+. I'm just gonna give it a B+.
Okay.
Man. But it is a 6-drop in a Delirium deck. But it's like a reach, and I mean, I'm just giving it a B+. I don't give a fuck, man. This removes a blocker, puts them on a faster clock. Like, this is gonna end games a lot of times. And then there are other things that are good with it. Yeah, okay. Oh, no, we are not done with red. My bad, everybody. It's all good. Now we are onto the red mythics and rares. Red, Scotty, before the mythics and rares, what do you think?
Way better. It looks pretty good. Yeah, I like the look of Aggro Delirium the closer we look at it. I think Aggro Delirium looks pretty strong. I think Rome's look pretty strong. And I think the sacrifice stuff looks secondary.
It is.
That's okay.
Yeah, it is pretty good with... It's... Yeah, I mean, is that fair? Like, oh, much better than black. Like, how do you feel about it in comparison to other colors?
I mean, I think it stacks up perfectly fine next to the other colors. I think they all look like on par, comparable to each other, like they belong in the same set, and not like a set from 10 years ago.
Yeah. All right.
Like one of the other colors, maybe.
Okay.
Chainsaw. Chainsaws, 1 in a red. For an artifact equipment, when Chainsaw enters, it deals 3 damage to up to 1 target creature. Whenever 1 or more creatures die, put a rev counter on Chainsaw. Equipped creature gets +X+0, where X is the number of rev counters on Chainsaw. So you cast this, for the cheap on the as a sorcery, you remove something. You get the first rev counter just from that. Equipping this is very expensive, extremely expensive. Not something you can do while in your developing stages whatsoever. Well, you can choose to do. It's a legal play, but it's not something that's wise to do in the developing stages. So things trade off, right? Which when two creatures trade, it only adds one counter, but still, things die all the time. Things die in combat, things die out of combat, it's removed. I can see this if you cast this on turn 2, for example. I think I can see this eventually stacking up like 4 or 5 counters. And then when things sort of settle out, you have some like keyworded creature, like Menace, like Trample, like First Strike. You just slap this on when you have a little bit of extra mana, and it's very strong. So I think this is an extremely good card. This is a B for me.
It's a B+ for me. Like, it kills something right there, and that's already fine. Like that's it's sorcery speed. But it is gonna stack up. This is gonna stack up. So maybe a B. Yeah, 3 mana to equip is a lot. Okay, B. Let's go B. And doesn't help Delirium. It doesn't help Delirium. But it's also any creature. 1 or more, but it is any. Yeah, I like that. Fear of missing out. For 1 and a red, it's a 2/3. When it enters, discard a card and draw a card. But Delirium, when it attacks for the first time each turn, and you have Delirium, untap target creature. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. That's pretty interesting. Like, fear of missing out, and then this is interesting design. So I think for the most part, this is a 2 mana 2/3 that ramages and its enchantment creature, which red doesn't care about except 1 card, and other things do. So that's kind of okay. And then at one time, like, you're gonna be fine with having 2 combat phases, but only one thing. They really don't have to kill it, because only 1 creature is gonna be untapped. Usually it's like everything gets untapped, and then it's like, fuck, everything is attacking me again. So it's good. That's a good card. I think it's just a C+. It is a good card. Nah, it's a B-, because enchantment creatures are really nice in red, because you get Delirium.
Yeah, I'm on a B- as well. Yeah, good. I mean, this is a good 2-drop. Take away the Delirium text. Just, I think it's totally solid.
A low B- for me.
But it's nice upside. Razorkin Needlehead. Razorkin Needlehead is red. It's a 2/2. Razorkin Needlehead had first strike during your turn. Whenever an opponent draws a card, Razorkin Needlehead deals 1 damage to them. So it's kind of hard to cast this on curve. I mean, extremely hard. It's not even that easy to cast this on turn 2. But it's not bad. Like, this isn't bad. It gets a huge knock in grade for opposed to being like a 1 and a red, right? Because red is nothing to be sneezed at. Mana bases are not to be trifled with.
Yeah.
The unfortunate part is that even if you play this late, it's not going to attack well, right? Usually, because like it's not that hard for opponents to have like a 3 toughness creature. But it wears augments quite well, and it also can just sit there and start pinging, especially versus blue, which, you know, like I believe there's some archetypes that draw a lot of cards, and it's just gonna be extremely painful. I think overall this is like a C+.
C+? Double red is a pain.
Big pain.
A pain. Pretty cool with that red card that deals 1 damage to a creature, a 6-drop. The reach is very good in red, but I think it's just a C. Double red is a pain. It's a pain. It is pretty good with first strike, so it's a fine card, I think. Double red, I'm not a big fan. The Roller Crusher Ride for X and 2 and a red, so that's X plus 3. It has a Delirium. If a source you control will deal non-combat damage to a permanent or a player, while you have Delirium, it deals double that damage. When this thing enters, it deals X damage to each of up to X target creatures. Oh! Oh! Holy shit! I mean, whoa! Okay, so for 4 mana, it's 1 damage. No, 4 mana is nothing. So for... And it's an enchantment, right? So other things also work with this. Like anything works with this. So for 5 mana, it's 2 damage to 2 creatures. If you have Delirium, 4 damage to 2 creatures, which is crazy. For 6 mana, it's 3 damage to 3 creatures, which is kind of fine already. But if you have Delirium, it's 6 damage to 3 creatures. And you don't have to stop there. You can wipe their whole board for like 7 mana probably. Oh, that's insane. I'm giving this an A-. This is a bomb.
This is an A.
A, yeah. Go to A for me as well. A.
Glad I can convince you.
You're a smart guy. I'm also a little bit scared. I'm also a little, not gonna lie, I'm a little bit scared because, yeah, I don't want to fight with you, man. You're a giant. I don't know how Hand can handle you.
Screaming Nemesis, 2 and a red for a 3/3 hate. Whenever Screaming Nemesis is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to any other target. If a player is dealt damage this way, they can't gain life for the rest of the game. What the heck? This is good. Oh my gosh. It's just 3/3 haste, and then you just get to dome something else for 3? What in the world?
Yeah, I don't know.
This
Sure.
is super strong.
Yeah.
I don't really care about the life gain clause.
Yeah.
You know, like shrug, whatever. This is super duper strong. The thing is, like, you don't really deal this damage unless it's dying. But you can over deal this damage too. So if they block with like a 5/5, it deals 5 damage. Wowzers. I think this is a B+.
I mean, they can't block it on 1x or 2x, so that's kind of cool as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I'm gonna B+
it's
as
unchumpable.
well. I'm gonna B+ as well. This is very good. And if they block it with a huge creature, that could be a problem as well. Can you hit this creature to go ahead? Yes, you can.
Yeah, it turns your impossible infernos into actual lava axes.
I mean, it's something. Okay. You can pump opponent's creature. Oh, that's okay. Cursed Recording for 2 and double red. Sorry about it, guys. It's an artifact. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell. Hey, there we go. We got some instant and sorcery synergies. On rare. Put a time counter on Cursed Recording. Then, if there are 7 or more time counters on it, remove those counters and deal 20 damage to you? Okay. That's not unexpected. You can tap it when you next cast an instant or sorcery spell this turn. Copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. Huh. Okay, so this 20 damage doesn't really matter, right? It really doesn't matter. It's not copy. When you copy, you're not getting the second counter. So this is basically 4 mana. Once per turn, you can double your instant or sorcery. You cannot double your rooms. Huh. How do you do this? I mean, 4 mana for this effect is kind of good. Usually we see this mana for 6. I like this effect for 2 mana. Sorry, for 5. Usually we see it for 5+. But there is a problem. The problem being, it's really bad as a top deck. I think this is D+. Scotty?
I think the upside is here.
Mm-hmm.
I think the upside
Ceiling?
is high enough, or I'm actually going to take this pretty highly. So I'll take this at a C+. I'm a big optimistic about it.
Yeah?
Just being able to double just enough. And the thing is, there's a reasonable amount of design space taken up by rooms that would normally have been on instants and sorceries. But maybe that puts this at a sweet spot to to just have enough instants and sorceries like draw 2, make glimmer effects to push you over the edge, and then you can still cast your rooms at least to still continue playing the game even if you do hit 6. I mean, if you hit 6, you probably win the game. I don't. Maybe that's the.
I think you're winning the game. Yeah.
Yeah, you copied 6 spells, you won the game already. You copied 3 spells, you probably won the game already. So not relevant. But I think this is strong. But yeah, the biggest downside here is how many instants of sorceries can you get. But I'm optimistic. So
and you can't play 2 per turn as well, or 1 per on your turn, 1 on their turn. Let's give it a ceiling grade, like a B. All right.
It's very, very good.
Okay, you do this. I'm gonna light up my room.
Okay, enduring courage. 2 red, 4 mana total for a 3/3. Whenever another creature you control enters, it gets +2/+0 and gains haste until its turn. When enduring courage dies, if it was a creature, returns to the battlefield under its owner's control. It's an enchantment. This card is super duper strong. So this does nothing for you necessarily on defense except for block on the turn it comes down, and you're dang happy trading this off, right? Like it's a 3/3. Who cares about this card in particular? It's just a 3/3.
Yeah.
But everything else after that becomes a huge boosted threat. Haste. Nice. Very, very nice. I'm giving this a B+.
A B+, crazy. Maybe A-, maybe A-, maybe A-. Let's do B+ for now. But I can see this being an A-. Lane of Resonance for 2 and double red. If this thing is in your opening hand, you may just put it on the battlefield. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets only a single creature you control, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. F. Never play this. Only works with things... Tricks. Only with tricks and shit. Or blue. Fuck it. No.
Waltz of Rage, 3 red, 5 mana for a sorcery. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to each other creature. Until end of turn, whenever a creature you control dies, exile the top card of your library. You may play it until end of your next turn. This card is bonkers. So you take your best card, you take your like a big card. Let's say it's even-ish in power with your opponent's stuff. You wipe everything, you keep your card, and you draw cards for the cards that you've lost. You know, that's like almost reminiscent of freaking Season of Loss in terms of just that effect.
Yeah.
The problem is this is way more conditional. Honestly speaking, the flexibility of Season of Loss is why it was busted. But the effect is so strong here. It's incredibly strong. Just play out your creatures, and then this is a wrath you don't even have to worry about, because you just develop all your whole board, and you just sweep, and you draw. Even if a creature stays alive on the other side of the board, it's not that bad for you. It's not that bad. You know, you sweep everything else. You draw cards based on your small ball little dorkers that have died. Your 2-drop, just cantrip in the late game. Lovely. A-.
You do kind of need a big creature, right?
You do need a reasonable powered creature, yes.
There's like a caveat that you can have 2/2 and other creatures you have like 3 or more toughness, and then you don't actually kill your creatures, but you can kill opponent's creatures like that. There is some flexibility around these things. Like this might just be like 2 damage to everything, which kinda is not great, except that one creature. Maybe one of the things dies and you get more, but it is really nice. It is really nice. It is pretty conditional, so that's kind of scary. I'm gonna go on a B for this one. I think the conditionality is enough that it's not gonna be that great, and you can be blown out, right? Because you gotta target your creature.
This is fizzleable.
It's fizzleable, yeah. But you can just develop your board and be fine. So B, I think is good, but it could play out like a C or C- or D sometimes. But that's okay, because of the ceiling is so nice. Overlord of Boiler Bilges. What is a bilge? Alright, for 4 and double red you get a 5/5. When it enters or attacks, it deals 4 damage to literally anything. For 4 mana, you can get have Impending 4. Which is pretty fucking good. Like 4 mana, you just kill something, and you can in 4 turns it's gonna come back. It's like it's come back. It's gonna become a 5/5 that needs to be dealt with. It's amazing. It's a little bit weaker than Inferno Titan, but it can be played for 4, so that's cool. Very, very powerful. Very extremely powerful. Usually you play it for 6, but sometimes you really need to deal with something. You play it for 4 and you're fine. I'm on an A.
I'm on an A as well. Charred Foyer. I don't know how to say that. And Warped Space.
Foyer, I think. It's foyer.
Foyer.
Foyer. It was foyer? Is that how it is, chat? Foyer.
3 in a red. I don't know how to
I'm
English.
sorry, Scotty. I'm sorry.
3 in a red. Foyer. Okay. Charred Foyer. 3 in a red. 4 mana total, and Warp Space is 4 red. 6 mana total. The Foyer is at the beginning of your upkeep, exile top card of your library. You may play it this turn. And Warp Space is once each turn, you may pay 0 rather than the mana cost for a spell you cast from exile. This isn't the worst, right? These sort of effects are never incredibly exciting, but they're not unplayable, I think. Like, it's reasonable to, even in an aggressive deck, you dump your hand, you force your opponent to react, and then you drop this, and your opponent has to then try and keep up with your onslaught of cards that come afterwards. It's kind of nice that, well, I don't really care about Warp Space at all, because the idea is, like, once you hit a land, finally you break on this, you hit 2 lands in a row or something, then you activate the Warp Space, but then you have enough mana to just cast all your stuff that you're top decking anyway, so I don't think Warp Space does anything.
I think it does. I think it does. I think it's more like, so? If you're single spelling that turn, you always use the Warp Space. Yeah. And if that spell is in exile, right? If you're single spelling the card that you exiled, you always use the Warp Space, and then you're always going to be playing out your hand for the rest of the game.
That's true. Still, I don't think that's like incredible or amazing. It's a tiny bit slow. I think overall this is a C+ for me.
Okay. Yeah, I'm okay with the C+. Mostly because of the Warp Space. Does things. I mean, really? C+? That's a lot. 4 mana is a lot to pay for.
I think I'm higher on these effects than you are.
Yeah, I'm gonna be going to C. But having Warp Space is really nice. It is really nice. Is that single spell turn or no spell turn? You're gonna have some other effects as well that exile cards, so it's gonna be much easier to play out the rest. Okay, red rares, not bad. On to the green. The last color, because we are always fast. Oh, we're doing good, man. I was not hurrying up. Were you hurrying up?